Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is a gay themed short story I wrote called Lunch. It's about two guys having lunch. Let's begin. Name. The hostess pulled out a paper and scribbled a note before looking up at me. Evan Wrist. I reserved a table for two an hour or so ago. Let's see. I have a table by the street window, and you requested a chilled wine with a vase and a single white rose on the table? That's correct, I said. Is everyone in your party here? Not yet. Please let me know when you are ready. I had never been this nervous in my entire life. I paced back and forth outside Mama Italiana's restaurant, staying under the green and gold awning to avoid the worst of the midday sun. Another hot August day, and of all the important days in my life, I didn't want to show any sweat. Dead Man's Butte, a small town about an hour's drive north of Las Vegas, Nevada, that boasted fritters and unusual rock formations. Every day in August was 100 plus. Today, it was definitely plus. A bead of sweat dripped into my eye, and I wiped it off. The white linen shirt kept me cool, but I stressed. Today was the day. It had to be today. It had to be here. Mama Italiana's, the best Italian food in the Butte, boasted a chef trained in Venice and made food from the freshest ingredients. My wallet said that it couldn't afford something this nice, but I went anyway. My first date with Pete, even if Pete didn't know it, and it scared the crap out of me. He would probably figure it out soon enough. New haircut, new clothes, a dab of cologne. I looked as good as I could afford. I pretended not to notice the zit on my cheek. I checked my phone. 11:27. 3 minutes to go. Pete prided himself on always being on time. It came with his job, because his boss obsessed over every single minute. Employees punched in, punched out. The boss counted the minutes and sent emails if somebody didn't make their 40 hours. Heaven help them if they missed a couple of seconds. I'm glad I didn't work there. No, my job required a little bit more flexibility. I drove an ambulance, EMT certified, though Tia, my partner, thinks I'm certifiable. My rig is number 341. 1 day on shift, 2 days off. I'd be back on shift tomorrow. 2 minutes to go. P should be here. I checked my phone again. No new messages, no new texts. Mama Italiana's had a couple of trees out front and a couple of tables. Between the checkered tablecloths and cloth napkins and way too many forks, it possessed one of the finest wine collections in Dead Man's Butte. Red geranium window planters brought a bit of Europe to the outside. Tons of plants made the inside like a jungle. And hundreds of old black and white photos decorated every wall. 1 minute. Still no Pete. I walked to one side of the sidewalk, then to the other. A blue Honda passed, then a red Ford truck. Some guy rode a skateboard while talking to his phone. The lunch crowd filled up the restaurant. Pete would be on his lunch break and couldn't drink. I'll send the wine back. Noon. I checked my shirt to make sure I didn't have stained armpits. Clean. A yellow Volkswagen drove past, chugging away. A trio of women walked to the entrance, and the hostess took their names. A temperature sign down the road said 100. It will be hotter this afternoon. 1 minute past 12. I checked my phone. No new texts or messages. Maybe I should call him? He's never late. Has your other party arrived yet? The hostess said. Not yet. Another bead of sweat, this time down the inside of my shirt and rolling down my ribs. I should have worn shorts, but I wanted to look nice and presentable. 2 minutes after noon. No Pete. 10 people stood in line, texting or listening to music. 3 minutes after, I clenched and unclenched my fist. Where was he? Car accident? Maybe he fell and broke his leg? Maybe his boss wouldn't let him leave? 4 minutes after. 5 minutes after. At 10 minutes after, a dusty green Ford rolled down the road. Pete's car. At last. I waved like a hyperactive maniac. Pete nodded. I had never been so scared to see anybody, or so excited. My party just arrived, I said to the hostess, a little too fast. He's getting out of his car. Very good, she said, and didn't look up from the list she wrote. Pete had found a parking stall across the street. He beeped his car and walked over to me. Just like in high school, he kept in shape. He'd played basketball back at Montgomery Memorial High, made varsity. He'd gotten me to play, and we shot hoops every weekend, and had for 3 years. Between that and my job, I could keep up with him on or off the court. With an easy stride, he jogged across the road and to the restaurant. I imagined he breathlessly ran to me, but I knew better. Evan, Jared said, been here long? Just a few minutes, I said. I've already got a table. How's work? It's been a mess. That's why I'm late. We went to the hostess. She let us in, and I led us to the table. A loaf of their homemade bread waited for us, and our waitress adjusted the ice bucket with our wine. I bit my lip with excitement and forced my smile into hiding. I've never been here before, Pete said. It seemed too expensive. Don't worry, I said, trying to hide my nervousness. I'm buying. You can buy next time. Thanks. Wine? He picked up the bottle and looked at the label. White wine? California vineyard. I know, you're working and can't drink. I'll send it back. After the morning I've just had, a glass will be what I need. The waitress arrived, delivering menus. College age, brown hair, and she had mastered the talent of talking and chewing gum simultaneously, which she did non-stop. What would you like to drink? I stammered. Oh, you've already got a wine. It's a white, but that's always good. But we've got a desert blush that's so much better. Made here in Nevada. I can trade it for no extra cost. I'll go get one. I said, watching her walk off. Smooth talker, Pete said. You never change. So what happened this morning to make work so terrible? I said. Big corporate computer gurus came in last night about 10 and updated the servers and everyone's computers, Pete said. Then left to do the same thing at our Vegas branch. This morning, nothing would turn on. You're kidding. Pete glanced over the menu. Are you sure about this place? Look at the prices. I'm buying, I said. Don't worry about it. No computers. How did you guys get anything done? We didn't. Pete set the menu down, his finger pointing at an entree. It got worse. The gurus came back, checked the system, and discovered that their auto-install had auto-deleted everything. Somebody had goofed, and goofed bad. You had backups, right? I asked. It's set to backup every night around 3 a.m., Pete said, 4 hours after they left. Everything we did yesterday is gone. 2 shifts wiped out. Every transaction, email, memo, report, everything. If it needed a computer, it's burnt toast. I said, your boss mad? Oh, he's way past mad. You should have heard him yelling at the Los Angeles office. I thought the windows would break. Here you go, our waitress returned, carrying a bottle of pink wine. I think you'll like this one so much better. I talked to our head waiter, and he says it's the same price. This one is a much better quality, full-bodied flavor. It reminds me of springtime. The white's fine. It's already chilled, I said. We could try the blush, Pete said. It's local. Made north of here, you'll like it so much better, our waitress said. Do you want to? I asked Pete. Pete shrugged. As long as it's alcoholic, I don't care. The waitress opened the bottle and poured a glass for both of us. Now what would you like? Don't do the lasagna. What would you recommend? I asked. We have this wonderful bruschetta with tomato and garlic, then a pasta with homemade ragu, lots of vegetables with our fresh-made noodles, served with a steak of your choosing. We bring the cuts out so you can see them. Pete and I looked at each other. Sure. She walked away, chewing her gum faster than I could drive. What's your boss going to do? I asked. Same as the rest of us. Nothing. Until the system is working again, nobody can work on anything. Once it does work, we have to rebuild everything we did yesterday. Ouch. That means a long day today. Maybe today I should keep my mouth shut. I held the wine, staring at the pinkness. It rolled in the glass all right, and the bouquet smelled like wine. I sipped it. Smooth, slightly tart. I wouldn't normally choose this wine. I tapped the glass with my fingernail. Not today, Pete continued. The system is completely dead. The entire office has the afternoon off. That's my excuse for arriving late. Boss got so mad he told us all to get out of there, and I could hear him yelling at the computer guys as I left. Bet you'll pay for it tomorrow, I said. Probably. You didn't work today, did you? Wednesday is my new Sunday. The chief is rotating schedules again, so everybody works one Sunday a month. But it works sometimes too. That's why I thought it would be fun to do lunch. Here? This place is nicer than both of us can afford. Once in a while is all right, I said. Wait a minute. Nice restaurant, wine for lunch. That shirt is so new it still has creases. Your birthday isn't for a couple of months, and mine has long since passed. What gives? My heart rate sped up. This had been the moment I had been dreading, because if everything went according to plan, I could lose my closest friend. A truck rumbled past, so loud it needed a new muffler. Whenever I get nervous, my tongue stops working. There you go again, Pete said. I had tried to talk to Pete like this before, and it turned out the same way. Not this time. Pete? I need to. The waitress whirled in, holding a platter of raw steaks. I brought out a few so you could choose which one you would like. Personally, I think the upper two look the best. What do you think? I think I've just lost my nerve again. I fingered the tablecloth, noting the coarse texture. I'll take that one. Pete pointed at one of the lower ones. Evan? I pointed at one at random. Those should be just fine. We have a special marinade we use. Do you prefer a teriyaki or the spicy house blend or honey mustard and bacon sauce? I'll take the spicy, I said. Teriyaki. I'll be back in a minute with your bruschetta. What had I been thinking? A serious conversation with Pete proved impossible. Today, I had an even harder time. I scratched my arm and discovered my armpits felt wet. Pete looked all casual and cool like always. If you stare at the wine even more, it will evaporate. Does wine evaporate? I stalled. It's made of water and alcohol, so it probably does. It's not bad. I took a deep breath and kept my arms low. No way did I want Pete to know about my nervousness. You still up for shooting hoops this weekend? Always. I bought a new ball. The other one felt flat all the time, no matter how much air I put in it. Didn't you take that ball from the gym on yearbook day? Finders keepers. We did get a lot of use out of it, I smiled. Pete took a sip and played with the bread knife. Who did you get pregnant? What? I've been trying to figure out why here, why wine, why now. You're celebrating. There's nothing in August to celebrate, so it must be something personal. You're going to have a kid. You just found out, so 6, 7 months out? No, I'm not having a kid. I'm not even seeing anybody. Okay, Pete said. Expensive place. Wine. You don't want to tell me over the phone? You win the lottery? Another deep breath. No, I need no, want to. Here's your bruschetta, our waitress said. Fresh-made bread, vine-ripened tomatoes. You'll love it. Our chef uses a special combination of onions and herbs that give the right balance of flavors. Thank you, Pete said, glaring at me. Look, your wine is half drunk. I can bring you another bottle if you want. Isn't it good? No thanks, I said. One bottle is fine. Okay, your steaks will be ready in just a few minutes. As she walked away, both Pete and I smiled at the same time. Then Pete leaned forward and sighed. He stared at me. I took another sip of the wine. Pete didn't move. He kept staring. I took another deep breath. Pete sipped his wine, but his eyes never left me. They narrowed. Just like high school, he said. I wanted you to know, from me, from my mouth, yes? I needed your advice, I said. Now we are getting somewhere. No one's pregnant? No, I said. That keeps things easier. Job, family, or relationship? Relationship, I said. I need to tell someone how I feel about them, and I don't know how. Pete looked at me, exasperated. Just tell them. It's not that hard. It's a little more, complicated. Boy meets girl. Boy has crush on girl. Boy tells girl he likes her. Boy takes girl to bed. Simple story. I took one of the bruschetta and placed it on my plate. I pushed it around. But this time it's not a simple story, Pete said. What complicates it? Parents? Time to tell him the one thing that might destroy us forever. I looked at some random thing on the wall and felt something warm trickle down my arm. I wiped it. I whispered, hoping he didn't hear me. It's not a girl. Pete didn't move. Neither did I. My heart beat so fast I expected it to flatline any second. Sweat coated my armpits, down to the elbow kind of wet. Go on, Pete said. I was afraid we wouldn't be, anymore, if you knew. Pete leaned in, pushing the tray with the bruschetta to the side. You're my best friend. I mean, things would get weird. I said. I wanted you to know the truth, but I was afraid. But in high school, the dates, the prom. I had fun, but nothing romantic happened. Awkward silence. Pete took a sip. I tapped the glass. Neither one of us ate. Bribery, Pete said. What do you mean? Expensive place, wine, trying to soften the shock? I guess, I said. It's still a shock. When did you know? Years and years ago. Pete nodded. He refilled his glass to the brim, but didn't touch it. I was afraid to say anything because of what happened to the other guys like me. That, and I was afraid that we wouldn't be friends anymore. I really enjoyed playing basketball or having somebody to go to the movies with or call. I didn't want to break that. I didn't want things to be weird between us. Pete took a sip. You've kept it hidden this long. Why tell me now? Some truck honked outside. Light jazz played in the background, and I folded and unfolded and folded my napkin. I needed someone to talk to. Do you have a secret boyfriend you never mentioned? Pete asked. A little sarcasm tinted his voice. I used to. We broke up. Pete stiffened and tilted his head a little. You've been living this entire life, have been for years, and you've never said anything? Life is much easier when you're speeding down the road when only minutes mean somebody lives or dies. I stared at my fork. Something this important and you never trusted me? Are we even friends? Please, this is going to be one of those awkward conversations, Pete said. It already is, I said. Pete lifted the bruschetta and crunched through it. It's good. Try it. I used my fork to take a small sample. I was so nervous, I didn't notice the taste. Just like high school. If it's important, I have to ask questions. How long were you together? 6 months, I said. He got tired of dealing with someone who had a schedule like mine and called it quits. Some weeks. It does seem random, Pete said. Yeah. When did you break up? Pete's voice dropped and his eyes held a hint of annoyance or anger. I couldn't tell. I tried to break the ice with a smile and failed. 2 weeks ago? Evan. Our waitress came back to our table. You haven't touched your bruschetta. It's usually the first thing gone. Our chef developed this recipe just for Mama Italianas. It's fine, I said. It must be the tomatoes. They ripe enough? Or somebody added too much vinegar? It's fine, I said. If you say so. I brought you another bottle of that wine. It's so good. Just leave it. Pete stared at me during the quick conversation, his eyes hard and icy. The way I figure, nearly 200 times playing basketball, probably 2,000 texts, I don't know how many emails. We've talked on the phone almost every day, and that's since high school. I blew it, I said. Do you know the part that hurts? I would have been there for you. I guess I'm disappointed that my best friend left me out of his life, did things he never told me about, had a complete relationship I never knew about. It would have been fun, double dating or meeting people important to you. I'm sorry, I said. Me too. I drummed my fingers against the wine glass. You hid yourself even back in high school, Pete said, bitterness tinging his voice. This changes how I look at you. I feel like I don't know you anymore. He didn't shout, but it felt like it. My chest felt like somebody had crushed it with an ice pick. I closed my eyes and endured the ache inside me. I scrunched at my napkin in my fist. Big, tough ambulance drivers can deal with anything. An EMT deals with tragedies most people never dream of. But that one simple comment struck deep. It felt like I've betrayed Pete. I felt my face flush. My lips tightened together as the emotion ran through me. Evan? Pete said. I focused on my breath, stilling my emotions. Evan? I kept my eyes closed so I wouldn't have to look at Pete. I spoke low. He wouldn't hear me, not over the jazz, or the clinking of glasses, or the soft conversations around us. When you're gay, it's hard to tell people, coming out is hard. Each time you tell someone, you risk losing that person. I don't know how they'll react, or if it even bothers them, or how it will change the relationship. My dad and me used to throw a baseball around. We could talk for hours. Now, he never talks to me. I tried to go up to him a couple of times, but he finds someplace else to be. I took a sip of wine. The more you feel for the person, the bigger the risk. Even strangers are hard because as soon as they learn, some of they treat you like you have the plague. Others are all smiles, say, isn't that cute, but get away from you as fast as they can. Some, they look at you for a moment, give you a hug, and everything's fine. I finally opened my eyes, but I didn't look at Pete. The plate of untouched bruschetta sat on the checkered tablecloth. That's what I stared at. You're my best friend, and I've been afraid of your reaction. I didn't want you to treat me like my dad does. My mom pretends everything is fine, but she's distant. I can feel it when I talk to her. We don't connect. I didn't want that from you either. I wanted someone I could talk to. Because Pete didn't move. Sometimes this job is too much, and I need to talk to somebody. I had calmed down, but the emotion still hurt, even if it's about stupid stuff. Silence. Pete played with his wine glass, swirling the wine. Any moment now, he'd walk out. I'll still buy lunch, I said, forcing a smile. Pete nodded. I played with the fork, twirling it around a little. Any moment now, he'd be gone, just like Dad. Pete took a bite of the bruschetta, the crunch of bread a bit loud. Your steaks are done to perfection, our waitress said as she came back. Can you smell that sauce? And the pasta is a recipe straight from Italy. You've barely touched your bruschetta. That's a shame. Thanks, Pete said. He moved his wine glass out of the way as the waitress placed his food before him. He made no move to grab the knife and fork. She set mine before me. There you go, a good meal, good wine, and you'll be all ready for work. This place makes the best food, all from fresh, natural ingredients. Can I get you some more bread? You haven't touched that either. You spend all that money, and you're not eating the food? I'll come back and check on you in a minute. Try a little steak. That sauce is good. Before you go, I said, pulling out my wallet and my card. Here's the card so you can start processing. Don't forget the tip. 20%, please. It will be my pleasure. When she left, I looked at Pete. His expression hadn't changed. He didn't have a smile or a frown, only a slight crease in his forehead. The next sound was our friendship slipping across the floor and into the closest drain. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. Some things are too hard and too scary. I wish things had been different. The pause felt like it lasted hours when only seconds passed. Pete broke the silence, glancing up at me. Your dad doesn't talk to you? He hasn't for years, I said. Neither one of us ate. We stared at our plates, at the walls, anywhere but at each other. Roger, came a voice from across the room. Spit it out. An odd wheeze sounded from the other side of the room. For the moment, I couldn't deal with Pete, but I could deal with this. My training kicked in. A man, 60, balding, about 30 pounds overweight, couldn't breathe. An oxygen tank sat at the side of the table, tubes running up to his nose. A woman, wife presumably, fanned him with the menu. The man gave another wheeze. Roger, the presumed wife said. Roger had gone pale, lips blue. He couldn't speak. One hand grasped his throat. I drove an ambulance. In Nevada, that means you're also an EMT. The mess of this afternoon flew from my mind. Our waitress ran to the man. Ma'am, call 911. I left our table and hurried to theirs. Tell them the address, and you have an adult, male, senior, trouble breathing. Suspected choking. Hurry. She pulled a phone from her pocket and called. Roger's plate had a steak on it, but cut into large pieces. One must have lodged in his throat. I knew what to do. Lifting him from the chair to get a better position behind him, I balled one fist, placed it on his abdomen, and the other hand on top. Precise pressure. Roger, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Heimlich maneuver. Nothing happened. And again. 1, 2, 3. No change. Once more. 1, 2, 3. Something flew from his throat. He breathed. His wife screamed. The noise in the restaurant drowned out the light jazz. Tell me your symptoms, I ordered. Dizzy? Lightheaded? Nauseous? Roger sat down, nodded, but couldn't speak. The color came into his lips, but not his skin. I checked the oxygen. No kinks in the tube. The air lines were attached to his nose, but he breathed with an odd, raspy noise. Wouldn't you know it? The EMTs from the A crew showed up with my rig. The old 341 and an old friend, Officer Lopez. You guys got here fast, I said. What do we got? Barrett asked. I said, adult, male, a piece of meat lodged in his throat and cut off his air supply. I dislodged it, but his breathing and color isn't right. Some days you can't escape the job, Lopez said. I got out of the way and let them do their job. Amazing, our waitress said. The way you knew what to do, I am sure you saved that man's life. I hope he'll be all right. Excuse me, I'll need to talk with them a moment. They asked the usual million questions. The wife answered. Roger was conscious, sitting, but unresponsive. The A crew took readings, trying to narrow down symptoms. They called the paramedics. That meant they suspected he suffered a cardiac issue. Paramedics had the training to deal with that. Somebody even found the piece of meat, and the EMTs took it. It turned out Roger suffered from heart failure, and the event had triggered an abnormal heart rhythm, possibly a mild heart attack. They took him to the hospital, and his wife went in the ambulance with him. 30 minutes later, I got back to our table. Surprisingly, Pete remained in his chair, reading old texts, old emails, or whatever. He could have snuck out. He didn't have to stay. I made sure he saw that he paid for everything, so he could leave and not look back. But there he sat. A small smile escaped my lips. Maybe I could hope. I sat down to my cold steak, cold pasta, and soggy bruschetta, except Pete had packed it all in containers. The surge of adrenaline had got me past my nervousness. "What are you reading?" I asked. "Our old texts. I didn't realize we had so many. Can I ask you something?" "Sure," I said. "You've tried to tell me 3 or 4 times in the last couple of years, right?" I tried. "Every time something got in the way. You brought your new date, or we bumped into friends, or I lost nerve." Pete gave me an odd smile. Was this a date? I slumped in my chair, holding the warm wine. Wine and dine. It didn't go anything like I thought it would. "I have another question." "Shoot." "Am I the guy you wanted to tell how you felt, but didn't know how to say anything?" I took another sip of the warm wine, then set it gently on the table. "I've tried many times to tell you." "So tell me." I looked at the white rose on our table. "I had a crush on you back in high school, which turned into something deeper. I love you and have for years. That's why I couldn't say anything, because—" "You thought I would reject you like your father?" Pete asked. Bingo. "You know I'm straight." "I know, but you're my best friend, and sometimes I want to be with somebody and not have to hide." "Here's your card," our waitress said. "I would have gotten it to you sooner, but we had that incident. We all think you saved that man's life, and I swear you flew across the room. You didn't even touch the floor. Oh, look at your food. It's all packed away and you didn't get to eat. I'll have the kitchen make a new one for you right now." "No need," Pete said. "We have an appointment." "We do?" I asked. "With a basketball," Pete said, smiling. "You have a lot to tell me, and we do our best talking when we shoot the hoops." "It's just like high school," I said. "You just wait a minute." Our waitress zipped into the back. We got up, I took the rose, and we waited by our table. The lunch rush had died down, but a few people had stayed. An older gentleman at one of the tables flagged me over. "Aren't you the guy who kept that man from choking?" "Yes, sir," I said. "I think that's wonderful." The man clapped, and soon everyone inside clapped. "Is this your friend?" another woman asked. "He must be very proud." "I'm his date," Pete said smugly, with a strange, lopsided grin. "And yes, I'm very proud." The waitress ran back and handed me a gift certificate. "This is just to say thank you, and I'm sorry you missed your dinner saving that man. It's been such a great day." As we left, we walked over to Pete's dusty green Ford. "I'll meet you at the park," Pete said. "The new ball is in the trunk." "Then we are okay?" I said. "We'll be okay when you tell me everything." I laughed, then I handed him the rose. "What's this for?" Pete asked. "You've never gotten flowers before?" "You are so—" Pete sniffed the rose. "Just remember one thing." "What?" I asked. This time, Pete laughed. "I make it a point never to kiss on the first date."